Hello, this is John Jaw1, and we're here looking at the one-year Bible reading for today, which is Revelation chapter 13, verses 1 through 11. The previous video that I did this year on a chapter in Revelation, there was a blend between John's experience and his tangibly experiencing some things and symbolic language, and possibly highly coded symbolic language. And here we see that the use of symbolic language, probably highly coded symbolic language, continues because, well, in the language of the nature of this, John had already suffered from the belly of the beast of Rome and had been exiled to the island of Patmos. And he knew that anything he communicated to the church would be looked at and examined by Roman authorities. And, according to church history as I understand it, they tried to boil the Apostle John in oil as a way to kill him, and he wouldn't boil. And so it was a kind of an embarrassment to the Roman government. So they exiled him to the island of Patmos, which is another kind of death, where he's cut off. But God's giving him this revelation of realities that the church will have to, in the future, contend with. And he's trying to communicate these realities in coded language. If you're trying to communicate in-house information, you have to develop meaningful coded language that's contextualized to your community. And we often see minority communities actually do this. It's a very natural phenomenon. You see in the hip hop community, they have their own coded language. You have, in the native communities, they have their own coded language. One of the things that we all collectively can say is that nation states and their power and the way their power functions can turn nation states into a beast, and that leadership really matters. The content and the quality of leaders. And it's not necessarily good that nations get together and line up their power together against other nations. That's not necessarily a good thing. I'm among the component of people that say that small is beautiful, and it's true. Small is beautiful. The most intimate of communities really can't thrive, and you can't know and be known once you get beyond certain numbers. And so there's wisdom. Even Jesus develops a small group of 12. He doesn't try to develop a community of thousands that are disconnected. If you're in a mega church and there aren't small groups, and there aren't places for intimacy and relationship, and places for you to know and be known, safe places, find a place where you can know and be known. And if you lead a mega church, please consider developing small groups that are mobile, that are independent, that if your institution was to be crushed or destroyed, that the smaller cell groups could continue and would thrive, and you could even grow. Organizational structures then matter. We have a context here clearly that implies that the church can go through persecution. And so we need to design durable communities that are not going to act in accordance to what the world thinks of as how power is managed. Power is not managed by controlling people and oppressing them. It's by sharing in a quality of life together that we know comes from God. That's really at the heart. And so it has this injunction, and it really, to me, I mean, I want to take my hat off to the Quakers historically that have been there, the Mennonites. I think that there are times, many times in the history of mankind, where you cannot use violence to achieve godly purposes. It says in 9 and 10, whoever has ears, let them hear. If anyone goes into captivity they will go. If anyone is to be killed by the sword, with the sword they will be killed. Violence is not the means by which the kingdom of God manifests itself. And it says clearly this calls for patient endurance and faithfulness on the part of God's people. You know, who you are on the inside, the character that you carries the seed of the core quality of life that you live. And it's who we are on the inside that matters. That's why later on it has this other thing about, can you calculate the number of the beast? 666. 6 is the number of man. It's one short of perfection. 7 is the number of perfection. This is all symbolic language. 111 is the number for the Trinity. It's 111. So 666, the mark of the beast, is really man trying to be his own God in his thoughts and in his actions. So, whenever man has separated himself from God and decided to be his own God, he or she has internalized the mark of the beast. And then this whole question of buying and selling, if we can only get what we value and what we need through money systems that are subject to governments, then we are really vulnerable as a church. We actually need to establish our own barter systems, our own relationality, our own systems of relationships and trust, so that we can provide without being dependent on money itself. Like Jesus said, give unto Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and give unto God the things that are God's. Our life cannot be ultimately derived and dependent on nation states. Healthy nation states will protect the quality of life of the people under it. But when nation states become unhealthy, they turn into beasts. And the people under those nation states will suffer. And if we're wise, we'll understand that all nation states go through cycles of being healthy or unhealthy, and will build durable communities that are able to thrive even when nation states become unhealthy and impact the quality of life that people can live. This is John Jaw 1. God bless. Keep the faith.